Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Squared Circle, the UK's #1 pro wrestling podcast with me and Sam. Andy Evans here, of course, coming to you from the glorious, the sunny. We've had no rain for at least half an hour. Weymouth in Dorset, coming hot off the biggest party of the summer. I don't know about you, Sam. I'm absolutely shattered, sitting up watching WWE SummerSlam last night. But that's why we're here. Andy Evans here, of course, joined by Sam. Sam, how you doing, my good friend?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm really, really good. Buzzing for today's show. Talking about what a great pay-per-view, but we'll get on to that more in a bit. Have a good weekend so far. Let's carry it on.
Amazing. Now, one thing you might notice is I've got a bit of a cold. So if I do cough or I sneeze, I apologize. I'm struggling with one of those really awful summer colds. You know what it's like? You know, when you kind of get them. Right, this week the show is going to be slightly different because we're going to be focusing purely on SummerSlam. That's what we're here to talk about this week. Big shout out to everybody who watched last week's show. Amazing reaction to the SummerSlam preview show. Thanks everybody for that. We've had some great comments come through via email. The view rate on YouTube has gone absolutely through the roof. Couldn't be more pleased with that. Also going to let you. Hello, there we go. I just disappeared off camera. TSC Wrestling Pod on X and on Threads. They are going to be changing in the next week. All right, so we will be moving to TSC Wrestling Pod across all of social media, thanks to a suggestion by my new co-host. And why in God's name had I not thought of doing that before? I don't know.
The wise man has arrived.
Yeah, if you find him, let me know where he is, right?
Oh. Meow.
No, don't start. We're not quite there yet. Right, shall we do this? Shall we kick this off as we mean to go on? It's time to go on the road to 5-star. That's got a real, like, Red Dwarf style to it. I don't know.
Red Dwarf meets American sports analyst music combined into one. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I don't know where that's come from. As we know, last night SummerSlam took place live from Ford Field in Detroit. I want to kick off first of all, Sam, because what was really unusual about the SummerSlam pay-per-view, before we get into 5-star, and we'll explain more about how 5-star works if you've never heard this before, is that's funny. I've just noticed the background seems to have gone a bit weird. Anyway, forget that. What I've just noticed, what I wanted to pick up first was there was no match on the kickoff.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, the first time in a very long time that WWE haven't put a match on the kickoff.
Yeah, I thought it was very weird. Like, I'm so glad it was on the main card, and we'll talk about it later on. But I was expecting the Slam Jim Battle Royal to be on that because it's a classic match to be chucked on the pre-show as Battle Royal. But yeah, no, I'm really glad it wasn't. But I kind of think it didn't need a match on the pre-show. Sometimes just the analysis and stuff like that works well on the pre-show, because also, like, some people don't watch the pre-show and then they'll miss a match, and it's like, oh, did you see that match? You're like, what do you mean did I see that match? So it's nice.
I do find it a little bit weird when you've suddenly got someone like Booker T and Pete Rosenberg and Wade Barrett trying to talk for an hour about, oh yeah, this is like a legit sport and blah blah blah, and this is gonna happen and all this type of thing, and you're sat there going, really, guys? No, come on. You know, it's sports entertainment.
Wind it back in.
And wind your neck back in slightly, but also, you know, the fact that I love Kayla Braxton. I think she's brilliant, but it turns into a lot of inside jokes. Anyway, that's the really negative part of the show kicking off. Now, if you've never heard the Road to 5-star, this is how it works. We're going to go through each of the matches on SummerSlam. We're not going to give you play-by-play because that's really not what we're here to do. What we are going to do, though, is give you our thoughts and our opinions, and we're going to rate each match out of 5. At the end of the review, we're going to come up with an overall 5-star rating. So it could be 1, could be 2, could be 3, could be 4, could be 5. Can't be any more than 5 because that's why it's called a 5-star rating. Then we've also got the prediction league. So last week, Sam and I predicted each match. We also predicted if there were going to be any Money in the Bank cash-ins. We'll talk more about that in a second. And we're going to give you the final prediction league results for SummerSlam, the first event in the year, which is all now nicely on a big spreadsheet with formulas and all that type of thing. And then we're also going to say who we think is the MVP of SummerSlam 2023. So, shall we kick it off the way it kicked off on SummerSlam? Logan Paul, Ricochet. I mean, what a better way to kick off this pay-per-view than with one of the most hated men in WWE in terms of Logan Paul, and a man who, in my opinion, is so undervalued and underutilized in Ricochet.
Yeah, absolutely. I've when we were doing the preview, I was very much like, yeah, Logan Paul, let's move on. Oh my, literally, talk about leaving the bar so high, the rest of the show has to try. Literally, I thought it was so good, from the Spanish fly to doing the body slam on the side, the turnbuckle, the apron. Oh, just the whole match. I also love the fact that as soon as the match was finished, Logan got straight backstage, did one little video while then getting to a car to get to the private jet to get himself over to his brother's match, because his brother was in a boxing match against Nate Diaz, and was there, but walked out with his brother still in his SummerSlam gear. He didn't get changed. He went on that private jet in his gear and then walked to the ring with his brother in the gear still.
That's a great thing, isn't it? You know,
I'm going to put a bold statement out there, and I don't mind if the listeners hate this. I honestly believe Logan Paul is the greatest celebrity wrestler.
In fairness to you, Sam, he hasn't got much competition, except for maybe Bad Bunny.
Yeah, Bad Bunny's close, but you think how many matches that Logan has been in, how dedicated he is. Like, I'm a massive fan of him. Not just I was fan of him pre WWE, but the fact of what he's doing and the fact that he's so dedicated to the sport and loves the sport, or it really showed.
I mean, look, yeah. I've been really impressed with Logan Paul right from the word go. From when he first came into the WWE, when he teamed up with The Miz at WrestleMania a couple of years ago, to the singles match that he had against The Miz, to even going to Saudi Arabia and challenging Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. I remember talking about that match going, he has proven himself. He got legitimately injured, was meant to be out for 6 months, and came back in at this year's Royal Rumble, had that amazing face-off with Ricochet.
Yeah.
Doing the coast to coast where they both kind of went from one corner to the other corner and then disappeared. But has come back in. His promo work is top quality. His ability to get under someone's skin is second to none. And these two, when you put that high-flying capability of both Ricochet and Logan Paul together, really showcased. I gave this one 4.
I gave this one 4 out of 5. This isn't the first, and it won't be the last 4 out of 5. No, a 4.5 out of 5 tonight. For me, it was a 4.5. It well deserved it. I was left wanting no more. I was like, this is perfect. The only thing that made it not 5-star is I just felt it deserved longer. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think the timing of this pay-per-view, we'll touch on that in a second. I think the timing and the match placement for this pay-per-view has been really good.
Oh, yeah. I think they were only given not much time because he had probably a time limit where the referee's like, mate, your private jet goes in 5 minutes. You need to get wind it in, go.
Get your kit in, go. The next match that's coming up, I know some people have really, on social media, have critiqued and criticized where it is, but I think it's a perfect thing. You've given it 4.5. I've given it 4. What a kickoff. One of the things that I loved about this match was a real simple line by Corey Graves, who went, Samantha Irvin, Ricochet's fiance, is in the colours of Logan Paul.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I just thought that was brilliant because I love Samantha Irvin as a ring announcer. She's possibly one of the best out there. Yeah, absolutely tremendous. All right, moving on. The next match that we're going to cover is the rubber match. This was the third time these three had faced each other. Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar. This one left everything out there. It was brutal.
This parts of this match gave goosebumps to my goosebumps. I loved it. I thought it was such a good match. And for me, I've seen on Twitter, I've seen on social media the criticism about the placement of this match. No, it needed to be then because I feel like it could have overpowered other matches later on in the card. Does that make sense? I feel like like how hard hitting it was, and then what we'll talk about later on in the main event. I feel like if you had them too close to each other, firstly, it wouldn't have given them enough time to recreate the what's called the commentators table, but also I think it would have been a bit of a cluster flush of such hard hitting matches. I think it was the whole pay-per-view. Each match was in its perfect space, but that's my own personal opinion.
I agree with you totally on that because I think all the way through the kickoff and all the way through the build to SummerSlam, they've been saying there's 4 main events. This is obviously one of those main events. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor, one of those main events. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso, one of those main events. And arguably, you can turn around and say the triple threat for the women's belt was the other main event. You suddenly go main event, main event, main event, main event. You get crowd burnout. So you get the crowd pumped up with your opening match, which is Logan Paul Ricochet. You build on that with Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. That finish at the end, that show of respect by both Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes was a perfect way to finish this trilogy of matches. And I'm putting it out here right now. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. I know he doesn't want to face him. He said that in the documentary. That's happening. He's getting that world title by the end of this year. He has to.
Yeah. Agreed. I gave this, it was also a 4.5 out of 5 star. I sent you a message privately, but then also to one of my mates. I said the first 2 matches are 4.5 out of 5 star matches. They are literally have left the bar so effing high. Good luck to the rest of the show. And like, honestly, I've had my criticism against him in the past, but Brock, wow, even when his shorts completely ripped, he still took it to every single moment. I also absolutely loved the moment where Cody had Brock's submission move in place, and at one point, legitimately, obviously Brock goes like ready, purpley face anyway, but looked like he was trying to grasp for air, and it then pick Cody's way up, which isn't light, which is quite a way, and to slam it down. And there was a video I saw not long ago with Gabby Turf, who formerly was Tyler Rex and now has transitioned, and she was saying that each time you take a bump from a power bomb or from a slam, it's like being in a car crash at 20 miles per hour. Look how many slams that Brock did to Cody, or even vice versa. All those moves. This is why it deserves a 4.5 out of 5 star match rating, because it was so good. And for me, I'm so glad it was the second on the show, because I was buzzing from the first match, and then I went into this going, oh, is it going to be a cluster flush? Is it going to be Brock squash? No. And to end the match, bell has rung, and then they go face to face. They go forehead to forehead, and you think, oh, it's going to kick off again. This is really quite rubbish. Don't ruin the really good match. You definitely drop it down a point. It'd be 3.5 if you then end up with Brock just destroying him. No, it was a handshake, a pulling, a pat on the back, a congratulations, and then showing off to the crowd, raising the arm, the show of respect. And I also loved the fact that WWE gave that time after the match. Not, oh, let's go to the next promo for the next match. They gave plenty of time seeing the crowd, saying things. And I loved also, you could see in the background, Brock taking selfies with fans. I love that because it leaves it to me a moment that he's done that. And is he heel anymore? Is he more of a face or is he a dirty face?
So there's two things coming out of that, which is really interesting. One, in the press conference that took place after SummerSlam, Triple H was asked about that moment. Was it planned? Now, Triple H has turned around and said that was not a planned moment at the end of that match. So that is a mutual respect thing, which I just think adds to it. Cody Rhodes has also said in the press conference, I don't want to face Brock again. I think as a fan, I don't want to see you face Brock Lesnar again. You've done 3 pay-per-views on pretty much on the bounce if you take Money in the Bank out, which we knew Brock wouldn't travel for. You don't need to see it again. But 2 questions. You've raised about the face of the heel status of Brock Lesnar. Where does Brock Lesnar go now?
After the ice
against now?
Gunther. Survivor Series. Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. Brock has said he wants to do a program with Gunther. He loves Gunther's work and stuff like that. It could easily be done as well. Now Brock is looking more face from doing that, but also just the way it goes out. You then go into a program where he's trying to go for the IC title. Why not? Like, he's already said that WrestleMania 41 in 2025 is potentially his last WrestleMania, and he'll retire after that. Then it's perfect. Give him the IC. I'm not saying give him the IC title. Give him an IC title storyline. It also shows the legitimacy and the strength of Gunther to have a little program with him leading into the Royal Rumble, for then Gunther to win the Royal Rumble going into facing Roman at WrestleMania, or whoever wins the main event.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I honestly think, but while I say that, I've seen a lot of videos on social media, on YouTube and that lot this last week because of this leading up to this match. And while we're talking about YouTube, remember to subscribe and like our channel. It helps us, and also we want to grow our ratings. So remember to click that subscribe button, click that little bell for the notifications, and give us a like.
You like saying that, don't you? We'll get a video made of that. We'll put that as a video. And also, in the comment section, leave a comment. Let us know what you think of each of the matches on SummerSlam. Do you agree with what we've talked about on the show? And we can get a dialogue going with you. Now, prediction results for this one. Let's just go back to Logan Paul versus Ricochet. We both picked Logan Paul to win this one. 1 point for both Sam and I. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. We both picked the American Nightmare. 2 points for both Sam and I. All right. You gave it 4.5 out of 5. I gave it the 5.
Oh, nice.
I gave it 5. I don't know how you couldn't. I mean, not
I was
just
so close.
Yeah, not just because of that hard hitting, but that ending as well. Totally 5 out of 5 for me. Now, SummerSlam carried on by snapping into a Slim Jim, brother, with the SummerSlam Slim Jim sponsored Battle Royal featuring 25 WWE superstars. We had the US champion Austin Theory, the phenomenal AJ Styles, Sheamus, Butch, Ridge Holland, Matt Riddle, Chad Gable, Otis, Santos Escobar, Shinsuke Nakamura, The Miz, Grayson Waller, Karrion Kross, Tommaso Ciampa, Cameron Grimes, Ivar Eric, Ludwig Kaiser, Giovanni Vinci, JD McDonough, Apollo Crews, Rick Boogs, Omos, and LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the winner was LA Knight, as we all predicted. How could you not give this one to LA Knight?
I don't know. It would be criminal. But it wasn't obvious. There's quite a few points you're thinking, oh, are they going to actually completely go with someone else?
Yes.
Like, oh, okay. It's going to go to AJ. Oh, okay. Oh, it's going to go to Bronson Reed. Oh, okay. Oh, it's going to go to Sheamus. Oh, okay. No, it was LA Knight. Yeah. And I literally, for me, I thought it was a perfect choice, but also it was so perfectly done. I personally felt. I thought it was done so well, and so it didn't feel like rushed. And some people put on social media about why we putting a battle royal in there, why we're not having other matches. Well, we're not having the other matches because they're happening at certain events. To have the Slim Jim one, I didn't mind. It was for once actually it didn't have it where it was everything has to be about Slim Jim. All it was around the apron, and we'll talk about that again in two other matches. I love the fact that this time it wasn't, we're going to literally have someone dressed up as a Slim Jim jumping around the ring. No. Or as someone in the ring eating a Slim Jim. No, it just had the fact that it was just a sponsored match. So they had it round on the Titantron that's around the ring. I just loved it. But the actual match itself, I gave it a 4 out of 5. All 25 members, completely blown away by some of the eliminations, by who they was eliminated by, because it showed strength to some of them. I was a bit gutted that I wanted it to be Bronson Reed and LA Knight, to be the final two, but they went with the carrying on a storyline of Sheamus and LA Knight.
I don't mind that though. I really don't mind that they're carrying on with that storyline because at the moment you've got two of the best faces on SmackDown. The biggest face, obviously, in LA Knight, and you've got Sheamus with the Brawling Brutes. So this is going to be interesting where they go on Friday night. I can see a move for LA Knight from SmackDown to Raw.
Yeah.
Very soon.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. I can see it very soon because they're going to want to put LA Knight in some sort of program. Now, realistically, the only program for a championship on SmackDown that he's got a legitimate chance of getting is the US Championship against Austin Theory. Because I don't think, depending on what happens in the main event, that they will break this 1,000, 1,500 day streak to LA Knight. If they do, however, do that, let's say Roman beats Jay at SummerSlam, or defeated him at SummerSlam, that's bigger than the Undertaker's streak.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
In a lot of ways.
But it's also an interesting fact that the final four members in the Battle Royal were LA, Sheamus, Bronson, and AJ. Bronson got eliminated, so that took out the Raw member. You then had the final three were all SmackDown members, and then had Karrion Kross effect. I love that. I love the fact Karrion Kross got involved, but I also love in the fact Karrion Kross versus AJ Styles. I just want them to give Karrion Kross the chance that he deserves. I would be a massive fan when he was Killer Kross, and when now Karrion Kross when he was in NXT, then he went back out and was Killer Kross again when he went. Was not. Then he got Future Endeavor. Now he's been re-signed. I'm liking this more. The whole raggedy hair look instead of the bold look. The bold look was a bit like generic WWE 2013 2K13 character compared to with this rugged hair look. I think he's a bit like what's happening next sort of thing. And yeah, he keeps on losing, but then you watch these wrestlers afterwards, and he uses that as well. Like, I may have lost this person, but what has happened to that wrestler since? I love that little thing. But to have him involved, so then that took him out. So then meant it was Sheamus versus LA Knight final two. And at one point I was thinking, we're going to have Jericho versus Sheamus in the final two of the Royal Rumble that Sheamus won. Because that year, everyone thought it was going to be Jericho, and then Sheamus won. I thought it was going to be that again. I'm like, we all think LA Knight's going to win. And no, actually out of nowhere, you then have Sheamus. But it wasn't. It was LA Knight.
I think that would have been such a crowd turner at that point, because the crowd are so desperately behind LA Knight. Everybody seems to be behind LA Knight. In fact, LA Knight appeared on Busted Open Radio just a few days ago promoting SummerSlam, and said that back in 2021 when he joined the company, he said, "Give me 3 months to get over or release me." Yeah. He was that confident. And Eli Drake, when he was on Impact, was that good. Now, obviously, NXT, I think they built him better than what they've done on the main roster. The fact that the old man wanted him to come in as a manager to the Maximum Male Models made no sense at all. But under Triple H, he's getting this push. And he is organically, I think, got the crowd on his side. He is now the number one face on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Quite simply, in my view, if you look at the crowd view. And he's also the number one merchandise seller.
Yeah. Some people are always saying he's the number one face of the whole company because he is that loved in the form of how much he's loved by people. Yeah. Like, if he got moved over to Raw, there would be no issue. They would literally and he'd be the face of Raw. And I know obviously you've got Seth Rollins, but in the factor of, if you look at it, he is the highest merchant seller. Like, if he got released, he's not going to be. He was released tomorrow. Would be probably the highest bought wrestler by any other company, and he'd be instantly going into the title picture, instantly winning that title because he is that, like, he is big. He is our big thing, and I'm so glad. Like, I'd rather him as the new face of WWE than Austin Theory or stuff like that some people were pushing for at one point. It's like, no. This guy has the full package, and Sam, I think it's Sam Roberts, I think it is, who does the Not Sam, and he has a massive fanship for LA Knight, and the factor of how this guy deserves so much more than he's got. Like, this guy went off to Impact, went off to here, went off to there, and worked his tooth to the bone. Like, he did, because of that's how he is. And to win this Slim Jim Battle Royal, that may seem like, oh, it's just a Battle Royal, it's a sponsored match. Well, actually, it's all part of his lineage. He can say he won this, all-star stuff like that. Then he will become one day a Grand Slam champion, because he will do, and it will be on his record. He can have that when it comes up alongside, when he's on the entrance, he comes up with all the information. I don't think it's going to be as fly-by-night as the Andre Battle Royal like title of it, but who knows?
Let's hope not. I mean, it definitely filled a hole. There is an argument to say, oh, you could have done Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez in this position. There is an argument to say you could have stuck it on the kickoff, but I don't think you needed to. I actually think, for a change, it was quite nice having it on the main card. And unlike the Mountain Dew Lights Out match that they did at the Royal Rumble, like you said, this was really nicely promoted as well. There we go. So, what did you rate it out of 5?
4 out of 5.
Okay, so you've gone 4 out of 5. I went 3.5 to 3.75 out of 5. I think the only thing was, yeah, for me, I was kind of like, they're always going to give this to LA Knight. So there was a little bit of a disconnect there in terms of, realistically, has anybody else got a chance? But I will say that it was a good match. So let's go 3.5 out of 5 for that one. Next up was MMA Rules, and it was Ronda Rousey facing off against Shayna Baszler in a match where, again, I think this was like the most easiest one to predict, because we all know Ronda Rousey is finishing up with the WWE. She's gone. How long she's going to be gone for, I don't know. This was a moneymaker for Shayna Baszler. This made her look great.
Yeah. It's the thing with it, and how I view it. You can see it on last week's show, and I can happily talk about it in the past. I'm not a fan of Ronda. I was worried for this match because I'm also a massive Shayna fan. And I was expecting to be sat there in a snore fest afterwards. But I wasn't. I was pleasantly surprised. It only got a 3 out of 5 because it was just middle of the ground. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't bad. It was just middle ground. It was all right. The 3 things that I would have taken from this match is it should have either been in a fight pit or in a lion cage or just in a steel cage. It needed that. With your making this MMA Rules, the whole rolling out the ring I didn't like. I thought it took it away from it. I feel like rolling out of the ring should have been a bit like on the WWE games, you can change the settings so you can't roll out the ring. It should have been like that. If you go out the ring, that's a disqualification. I think it would have been adding that stipulation to it. It felt like it took something away from it. Like, whoa. If you're going by MMA rules, they can't just go out the cage. They can't go out the octagon. They are stuck in there. So you can't get away from them. And I just felt like at points I was a bit like, I feel like you're just walking away from it. No, get back in, get yourself sorted. But it's interesting because now Shayna's released on her Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. She's come away. She's having to wear a range of motion brace on her left arm for her elbow. She's got a lovely shiner on her underneath her left eye, and then I think it's her like part of the gum on this side are battered. Like she's walking away with legit injuries. They're not just like you can see already the welts and the hurt. But for me, give her time off. Give her maybe like a month, 2 months off, however much she needs it. or give it to the Royal Rumble, and then my prediction of her winning the Royal Rumble works perfectly.
I think
But
the thing about this match is because they were both MMA experts anyway. I mean, Ronda Rousey's the baddest woman on the planet. She needed to go out her way, and I don't think the loss here to Shayna Baszler hurt her.
no.
However, I do think WWE missed a trick, and I'll tell you why. You might be sat there going, "What are you talking about? You're missing a trick." WWE are now owned by the Endeavor Group, who also own the UFC.
Yeah.
So why didn't they bring some UFC performers out? This could have been, I mean, people, okay, they would be in a catch-22 because fans would turn around and go, all right, this is what this is going to be like from now on. That this is going to be the crowd
Yeah.
that we're going to start getting. But this is MMA rules with a UFC legend in terms of Ronda Rousey. You could have easily have brought out some of the UFC performers, even a UFC ref.
Yeah. That's what I think.
To have given it that legitimacy.
Yeah, I loved at the start though. Sean Bennett, the referee, like tells them, right, this is the rules, this is that, and he did that. He was doing the whole thing from the word go. He was wearing the gloves or stuff like that. But I agree, it should have been a UFC ref. I did also like the factor of Ronda Rousey's attire had the UFC style writing, but saying WWE. I thought I like that. That's a nice little nod.
Yeah.
But I agree. It did that. That is a trick that was missed. Or you could even done it in a way a lumberjack match or lumberjane match, lumberjill match. That's it. With UFC wrestlers or the fighters. But also, it's a moment where I wish Maria Salif wasn't on AEW because it would have been great to see her and Just Duke back at the thing. So it was the fatal four-way or in that form. But yeah, it got a 3 out of 5. It was middle of the road. It wasn't great. It wasn't thing. But it didn't turn into be what I was thinking. It was going to be a drinks break.
No, I mean, it came close to it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
It did come close to it, but I agree with you. 3 out of 5 for this one. I'm glad this was positioned here because next up, of course, was, which I haven't got the graphic for. How did I not do the graphic for this? Drew McIntyre versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, you talk high up there matches.
Yeah.
You get to this one. We both predicted Gunther to retain the IC Championship, and I don't think that was a bad decision for us to make because obviously Gunther went over. Could I see them dropping it to Drew McIntyre? No. I don't know where Drew's going in WWE, and I think this is my concern now with how they're booking McIntyre is what is his direction? He's no longer in the title picture for the world or the WWE title. He realistically hasn't got a shot at beating Roman at the moment. Him and Seth would be good, but it needs a heel turn. I don't know where or what they're going to do with Drew now to reignite him on this road to WrestleMania, because that effectively that is now what we're on.
So I only have 2 thoughts about that. So where he's going to go. He's either going to go one or 2 options. One, tag with someone, form a tag team and go down the tag team route, which I don't know how that would go. The only person I can think of is Cody Rhodes, and it would harm Cody Rhodes at the moment, only because they have their paths to being a tag team. 2 is to form a stable that would then go against the Judgment Day and then maybe go down a storyline between Finn and Drew. That's the only way, the 2 ways I see it going. But I don't think that would work either. It's that factor of, like, I think they missed a trick personally. Obviously, it led into one of the best, or for me, the best match of the year. Potentially, of the triple threat at WrestleMania Night 2 for the IC title. Still one of the best matches this year. But with that being said, like, for me, I wish he joined the Brawling Brutes and that became like a British faction type of thing. They missed a trick, but they went down a different path of it. Then they went with him and Sheamus being tagged for a little while, kind of forgetting the rest of the Brawling Brutes. I think that that for me at the moment is the only way 2 ways I can see you going. But the thing is, there's been no reports of him that I've seen, but of him actually re-signing. No. He's come back, but he's not re-signed. So how do we know he's actually not gone, I'm not going to re-sign next year when my contract runs out next May, but I want this match, and this match before I finish.
Yeah.
And Trips has then gone, actually, I agree with that. Yeah, shake your hands on that. Let's book you in for SummerSlam. Let's book you in for Survivor Series. Let's book you in for Royal Rumble, and then have your final match with WWE at Mania next year. And then you are choosing to leave. You're not choosing to resign. And then we see All In next year in England. Drew Galloway versus Adam Cole.
Potentially. I mean, that's a good way of fantasy booking it. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this: the match was as hard hitting as we expected. Those chops, that back and forth chop fest that Drew and Gunther had, to get the crowd to even then start chanting, "This is awesome." It was the right result. Don't get it wrong. It was the right result for Gunther.
Oh yeah.
They are building this guy to be a monster, and he will be either the WWE or the World Heavyweight Champion. So we talked about LA Knight earlier on. I think Gunther has got more of a realistic chance of dethroning Roman Reigns than LA Knight. I can see LA Knight dethroning Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think we are building to WrestleMania 40 and we are building towards Gunther, Roman Reigns, with Gunther taking that title. That's the early prediction right now. What did you give this one out of 5?
4.5 out of 5.
What does it take you to give a 5?
You'll find out in the next match.
All right, okay. So I went 4.5 out of 5 as well. It was what it was. Brilliant, tremendous. Then we moved on to the World Heavyweight Championship match. Seth Rollins defending against Finn Balor of the Judgment Day. They made a big play about this one, about it being so many years to the day that Finn Balor won the World Heavyweight title and then had to surrender it the following night with that
7-year
because of Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
And now we got the rematch.
And then what happens? Seth comes out to the ring in this really big cloak, takes off and reveals the exact zipped up jacket thing that he wore the night that he did Thingy Shoulder in. This match, and I'm going to say it straight away right now, got 5 out of 5. From the moment the match started to the moment the match ended, and with the interference as well, the storytelling. I'm all about storytelling. There's 2 matches on this pay-per-view that the storytelling was beautiful. Like, you could write them in a book and sell them in Waterstones, and other bookshops are available. Like, but honestly, I loved it. I thought it was so good. I'm a massive Finn Balor fan. I'm also a massive Seth Rollins fan. I'm also a massive Damian Priest fan. That X factor of, is Damian going to suddenly turn up? And if he does, is he going to cash in? Or is he waiting to Finn winning and then cashing it in? Who knows? I know you predicted Seth to win this match. I predicted it to be Finn, but I thought it was going to be Finn and then an instant Damian Priest. The factor of, we're now thinking, okay, so that's Seth and Finn done. But they've had 2 matches. He's lost both of them. He ain't going to go back after it again, because Seth will be like, don't laugh in my face. That's ridiculous. That's my job. I laugh in your face. Finn going forward now has to be in a storyline either of rebuilding the bond between this Judgment Day or going against.
This is it. This is the implosion of the Judgment Day right now.
I feel
it's going to be Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, and Dom Mysterio, possibly with JD McDonough getting involved, because they've got to do something with him. But I think this is Finn out of Judgment Day right now.
I think I personally feel we're going to see on Monday Night Raw Finn and them having almost like a meeting in the ring type of situation. He then gets to be beaten down by Dom, Rhea, and Damian, and that's where JD comes in and saves Finn, and then it will be Finn and JD as a tag team, looking at almost like going against Damian and Dom. So it'd be like that's how I view it, because then it's the whole student and the master and the student type of situation, tag teaming. But that's how that's the thing. But then that means you have to make JD McDonough a face, and at the moment he's working really well as a heel on main event against Apollo Crews. But anyone can get changed at any time.
So here's a scenario for you then. Judgment Day finish. You keep the pairing of Dirty Dom and Rhea Ripley because that works, right?
Yeah.
It works. But you're seeing more of Dom and Ripley than you are of Dom, Ripley, and Priest
Mm-hmm.
at the moment, right? Priest is a big man. He's got money in the bank. He teased the cash in last night at SummerSlam once Balor was losing. And actually, it was the Money in the Bank briefcase. This is poetic justice that cost Balor the title because of that curb stomp straight onto the case, turned him over, got the pin, right? That has to play a part. He is now blaming the Judgment Day for the loss. So I think you're right. I think there is going to be a split tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. The question will be, what do they do with the rest of the Judgment Day? And I think Dom is spending much more time down in NXT. You've got Rhea Ripley that needs to focus now on this Women's World Championship because her title run is not getting the exposure that it should have been following that main event win at WrestleMania against Charlotte Flair. So they need to rebuild her and make her a legitimate force. And you can't do that, I'm sorry to say, if you're partnered up with the Judgment Day in this current form. You then got Finn and Priest going off on a program together. You've got Dom working a program with Wesley and Mustafa Ali down in NXT. And you've got Ripley running a program with Raquel Rodriguez, let's say, on Monday Night Raw. So I think I would say that's the way it would go. You've given it a 5. I've given it a 4.5. It was good. It was excellent. I mean, I can't fault it. There was just, I think for me, the only thing about it was the ending. It just felt too convoluted. It felt too much. You knew the Judgment Day were going to get involved, yes, but it just was a little bit too much for me. I was kind of sat there thinking, I want to see this match. I want to see Rollins and Balor go at it one-on-one. What I would have loved to have seen is Rollins versus the Demon.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I saw quite a few people say that for both SummerSlam and also for Money in the Bank, that he should have brought back the Demon. Like, one of them either had the Demon on Money in the Bank, and then at SummerSlam, well, no, I'll just bring myself to the ring. Or he's tried to beat Seth at Money in the Bank as himself. No, I need to bring the Demon out. But someone made a really good point, though, on social media earlier on. Rhea Ripley came out in Judgment Day attire. Dom came out in Judgment Day attire. Finn came out in Judgment Day in the form of his purple, and then he had tucked into his trousers his t-shirt. Damien came out in his own t-shirt. His red, white, and blue Puerto Rican flag logo, and even his jeans didn't have any touch of purple on them, not even a bandana sticking out of the pocket or anything like that. And I was thinking, I thought when I read that, that's a really good point. And I touched in my head on to what you said last week about what if he's the one who's turning face? What if after doing that, chucking in the briefcase, what if actually he actually is the one who's going to turn face and then leave the Judgment Day, almost be shunned out of it because he's the reason why Finn didn't win? And that's why another reason why I gave it 5. Because the storytelling, it didn't go, oh, cool, that's the end of that. Like, the Brock Cody was amazing, but it was 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
And also it kind of is a full stop. It was a rubber match. It was done, sort of done.
Yeah.
This, yes, it is done between Finn and Seth, but it's not done with a Judgment Day, and I love that. I'm left wanting more. I wanted to see a blowout right there and then, and I was thinking, no, they're deliberately leaving it to Monday night. But then you could also have the factor of, on Monday night, Damien turns to Seth and go, okay, I want to cash in. Not right now, but I want to cash in for a match at Payback. And then he'll turn to Seth and go, look what I can do that you can't.
Yeah.
Payback wins the title against Seth, and then turns around to Finn and go, ta-da, look at me, I've done it. I'm leaving the Judgment Day. I don't need you guys. Because like let's say that match, they don't come out to the ring at all. And he's on his own. I think that'd be also a great thing. Another reason why I love the storytelling of it all.
Okay, so I'll raise you that storyline, and I'll raise it by one. Tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw, they do the Randy Orton from SummerSlam a few years ago in Evolution, where Triple H did the thumb, went like that, and they excommunicated Randy Orton out of Evolution. Promo, Dom, Ripley, Priest, Balor, they get rid of Priest tomorrow night. So we'll talk about it next week on Squared Circle. Right, you gave it 5, I gave it 4.5. We are rocking through the summer party because up next at SummerSlam was the triple threat for the WWE Women's Championship. Asuka defending against the EST Bianca Belair, facing off against the GOAT Charlotte Flair. Let's touch this one on the point. I got a bonus point in this one because we did have a cash in for Money in the Bank. Sorry, I just wanted to say that. Let's just talk about the triple threat. Did the right person win it?
Yes. Well, no. In the actual match, no, but the cash in, yes.
Yeah.
I think it should have been Charlotte because it added to that. But I'm glad it wasn't Asuka that won, retained, and then was pinned.
Okay.
Because I think it would have hurt Asuka. Her not being the one being, she lost the match, but she lost because of that way.
Yeah.
I don't feel it really harmed her personally. That's my own personal opinion. It would have harmed her more if she was the one cashed in on.
It was a weak finish.
However, the factor of watching, I'm not a massive Bianca fan, really not.
No.
But watching her come back after that legitimate knee injury, just like that, I always feel like that cash in wasn't also planned. There was a lot of people around ringside. I always feel like she was told, do that, you're going to get the win, like the plan, but you're not fit to carry on. We're going to get Io coming out. Because also, Io literally was running and almost like going, oh my God.
I'm late. I mean,
but
I'm not a fan of Bianca Belair. I was, but I think Bianca got thrown down our throats too much. And it was too much for Bianca. So I need to see Bianca with a heel turn. That's what I need. She needs to align with the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. She needs to be part of that group, right? Because that would just give that character something fresh, just like it's done with the Street Profits. Charlotte Flair does not need to win another championship in the WWE. She's going to, because she's trying to get the record of the Nature Boy. You can do that face all you want, but she doesn't need to win it. It's John Cena all over again, always having the strap, build this younger talent. Asuka, it was about time Asuka had the title, but just like Ripley, she hasn't been booked as a strong champion. She's been booked as a transitional champion for Belair.
Yeah, no.
I love the fact that Io Sky is now the women's champion, right?
Yeah.
Because what this is going to do now is have Bayley saying, well, now I'm number one contender for the championship.
Yeah.
And you're going straight into a Bayley versus Io Sky, the end of the Damage Control faction, which admittedly has kind of come to an end anyway.
Yeah. I just hope they're not going to do a Luchasaurus and Christian Cage situation, because she was the one running down with the briefcase, hitting it over, trying to cash it in type of situation. I just don't hope that we don't have on Friday her with the belt over her shoulder going, yeah, and I like, whoa, no, it's my title, not yours type of situation. I want them not to go that way. I want to go the factor of her saying, like you're saying, of I'm the number one contender. Like, no, you're not. I am. I'm like, no, you're not, because you haven't actually fought for it, sort of thing. But also, I think at the moment, her having that, the fact that Dakota is coming back from injury, and Bayley having this storyline with Shotzi, I think works perfectly. I think it works so much better. And I feel like we're going to get Shotzi versus Bayley at Payback because of the whole factor of the hair situation. Are we going to see Bayley have a haircut? Who knows? Or could we have Shotzi get a haircut even more? We don't know. But I think that's the match we're looking at for the women from SmackDown at Payback, because I don't feel like we need an IO match in there. She can hold that title. She doesn't need to. She doesn't need to wrestle for it straight away and defend it in a pay-per-view. Personally, but that's how they're doing it so well. And like going back to last week's comment about women's wrestling, I feel like WWE on SmackDown are doing very well with the women, unlike on Raw where we're having not so great one. But yeah.
But I also think NXT are doing a good job with the women as well. The match with Tiffany Stratton and Thea Hale at the Great American Bash last weekend was a cracker. So we've got some good things going. Right. It's tribal warfare time. Jey Uso goes up against Roman Reigns for the tribal chief and the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Let's cut it straight to the finish. The Master Assailant, Jimmy Uso. You kind of could see it coming, right? I think you could see it coming.
No.
But I legitimately thought Jey was going to walk out as the WWE champion last night. I mean, you and I both predicted Jey Uso to walk out with it. The panel at the kickoff was split. There was people going, it was going to be Jey. There was some going to be Roman. At the end of the day, Roman Reigns is still WWE champion and still the tribal chief. But what is now going to happen with the bloodline? Because it's Jey versus Jimmy. Is that it for the Usos? Is it a swerve? Is this going to happen at Payback? I don't know.
I personally wasn't expecting it to be Jimmy. I didn't. That for me, I thought the masked person when it happened. I thought until obviously it was very quick timing, but for that split second, I was thinking, oh, they have got one of the guys from MLW who are coming up, who are in the part of the family. Like I thought, oh, they're doing it that way, or is it Umarga's son that is like breaking out into the professional wrestling?
Yeah,
all that sort of stuff. I thought, are they doing that? Especially with the whole factor of Jey and his promo on YouTube. He said things leading up to the match. One of them was he was talking about the tattoo of Umaga he's got on his leg. I was thinking, oh, have they done it that way, or who is it? And then he pulls back the hat, and you see the braids, and there you go, it's Jimmy. And I think they've done it, and they'll do it through the storyline of it. It wasn't the fact that he's joined with Roman now. I don't think he'll be associated with Roman, and he even say that. Like, no, I'm not associated with him. I just didn't want you winning because why did you get a chance, not me? Like you went and left me while I was injured. So I think that's how they do it. I think that's the best way for them to do it as well. That it's the way of the jealousy, but doesn't need to be the fact he's joined back with the bloodline. If they need to do down the line of it was always a swerve. He deliberately had it all planned out for Money in the Bank and stuff like that. They wanted to screw Jey out of the bloodline, but who knows? Like we'll have to wait and see. But I gave this match a 5 out of 5.
You can't not give it a 5 out of 5. I mean, the crowd was so over for Jey Uso. So over for Jey Uso. It did remind you of a Cody Rhodes WrestleMania moment. Yeah. Even Sami Zayn in Montreal at Elimination Chamber, they were over for him. Reigns, I mean, the minute he came out, and you could see actually that crowd reaction was physically starting to get on the nerves of Roman. But love Roman or hate Roman, there is no doubting the fact he is one of the most dominant champions in WWE history, and they have booked him so well over the past few years through the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic with this championship run. But my concern is who beats Roman Reigns, because he is legitimately going out and beating everyone. You know, he's beat Cody, he's beat Jimmy, he's beat Sami Zayn, who's completely out of the title picture now. He's beat Kevin Owens a few times. You need someone completely left field now to come in and do it. Again, money is on Gunther. I think that has to be the person to take the title off him, because whoever does, they are catapulted into that top realm of the WWE. Because that would be a moment, just like we said earlier, just like the streak. You gave it 5, I gave it 5, but we didn't get a point on the prediction league.
No. But another thing I want to say about this match, and I said this to one of my mates earlier on, the way it ended, I know some people put instantly on Twitter, because I saw it this morning before I even could watch the show. Brilliant. What a way to waste the whole opportunity. Oh, yay, boring. Like, no, it's not boring. I'm going to say this till the clouds aren't blue, clouds go blue and the sky goes white. The opposite way than it already is. Like, for me, like, literally, poetry in motion. The whole of this Bloodline storyline from the start to now, it is poetry in motion. It's going to carry on, and I feel like it's going to be one of those moments where people will want it to still carry on when it finishes, when it finally has that full stop and it goes the end. They all lived happily ever after. Close the book. It then goes on the shelf as a bestseller. People will want to have more. They will be wanting more. And that's the great thing about it, and I thought it's been brilliant, is the fact that it's been such poetry in motion, so good, people want more, and they're going to be upset, they're going to moan. Now we've got moaning, oh, it's going on too long. They'll then moan and going, why is it finished? Like, I just can't wait. I literally can't wait to see what happens next.
I totally agree with you. It's going to be a cracker of a storyline, and I think they've done this so well. When we look back on the top storylines in professional wrestling, it's the Bloodline. It's the thing that's got us talking. Okay. Let's get to it, shall we? So these are the Prediction League results. Sam, you walked away with 5. I walked away with 7, which includes the bonus point for the cash-in for the women's Money in the Bank. So we can now take that away. There is no more women's cash-in on the WWE pay-per-view predictions. So it's 7 playing 5. Amazing. What do we give the pay-per-view now out of 5 on the road to 5-star?
I'm so stuck between 4.5 and 5. Like,
yeah,
I think it's going to get a 4.5 because there was only 2 5-star matches. The rest were like 4.5s, and like I didn't say my score. The score for the women's, the triple threat one, was a 4 out of 5. So because of that, because there was a 3 in there, because there was a 4, and there was another 4. There was like 2 4s and 3 4.5s, and that I feel, doing a bit of Steiner maths there, I feel like it was definitely a 4.5 out of 5.
I would agree with you. So we've given SummerSlam 2023 a 4.5 out of 5. That's a big, strong way to kick off this year of the Prediction League. The next time we do the prediction will be in 3 weeks' time, as we do All Elite Wrestling All In. And did you know we're going to be there August the 27th at Wembley? Come and say hello. There's also going to be a Hooked on Wrestling event taking place at Box Park. If you could try and get into that as well, that'll be fantastic. Now, we've got a few minutes left before we end the show. So let's do a very quick news round, because I've got some interesting news for you concerning All In. All right, so news round this week. Last night on Collision on All Elite Wrestling, we had some challenges made for the All In pay-per-view. Now, we already know, confirmed, the AEW Championship will be on the line as Adam Cole will face off against MJF. There are rumors of a massive Adam Cole heel turn coming. Someone has put a picture up of the hug on Dynamite where he did the exact same image with his hand that he did before he turned on Roderick Strong. So let's see. Hopefully it will happen this week, because we know they're going to be on Dynamite this week. Last night on Collision, FTR issued the challenge to the Young Bucks, which is going to be well, I don't know what you can say about that one. And Samoa Joe.
It'll be a barn burner.
It's going to be a barn burner. And Samoa Joe issued the challenge to CM Punk. So potentially we were worried about this being a house show. It's slightly more than a house show, I think. CM Punk back in the UK for the first time in years. Samoa Joe, the Young Bucks, FTR, MJF, Adam Cole. This is going to be a cracker.
Yeah, and the fact that we've got some other matches that have already been rumoured on the old internet that potentially could come about. We're not going to talk about them now because we don't really want to be like, oh, let's say about the rumours and then they actually not even happen. And that's not look like fools. But if they happen, it's going to be amazing. Like, Someone said to me the other day, like, because they're one of my friends are going, and they said to me, "Do you even know what matches there are?" And I said, "Well, what we'd been like, it'd been rumored," and he said, "Just looking at that alone will make you want to go, even though you've bought the ticket, even though you're not knowing the matches, blah blah." But it makes you want to go. The fact that we add more matches, amazing, and the fact that we have FTR versus the Young Bucks, it'll be their third match against each other. It's going to be a barn burner. You've got MJF versus Adam Cole. I would love to see it that they're still best of friends up to the match, and it's the heel turn is in the match. Like he does a dirty move, be it the rest turns back and he does the old uppercut, or the using MJF's style of using the brass knuckles or something. I would love that. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Samoa Joe versus CM Punk. I'm going to pre-warn you, Andy. You might want to bring your earplugs because I'm going to lose my proverbial watching that match. Just amazing. I'm a massive fan for both of them. I did have moments where I'm a bit like, Punk, why did you have to come back? I'm now, because of Collision, I'm so glad you come back. The fact that these 3 matches so far are on the bill, and then the fact you've got some other ones that have been rumoured and that are very, very legitimately looking like they're going to happen, and we'll talk about them once we hear about them and we see them on paper and stuff like that. We'll talk about them on the show between now and the 27th, 4 weeks time. 21 days time. I can't wait. I literally, I've got big things going on between. I've got a wedding anniversary, I've got a birthday, and I've got some other stuff. But between now and then, but I'm still buzzing for the 27th. I literally can't wait for it. Don't tell my wife. But no, literally,
I won't send her a clip of this bit of the show. Don't worry.
No. No. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to it, and that's the type of thing. Like you say, we were so worried it was going to be like a glorified house show, and now we've legitimately got some matches that prove it's not going to be a house show. It's going to be an absolute sellout moment, and it deserves the amount of seats. Going back on the seat situation, I liked that there's obviously the fact that Wembley's the big sell, and then they were making a big thing of the seating numbers for SummerSlam last night, thinking you're only doing that because of the figures that AEW are doing. I see what you're doing there. Don't try and hide it. You are doing it so clearly.
So I had a thought last night, thinking about All In. Do you think they're clever? Right. So we last week on the show talked about the fact that, you got All In this week, got All Out the following week. It's going to be, they're not going to do the matches that we want to see at All In because it's going to be All Out. 2-part pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So All In, you have the AEW World Championship with Adam Cole walking out. I mean, that has to happen, right? But All Out is headlined by Darby Allin with like the TNT title or another championship or something like that. Because
I like that.
They got such a roster. You can still have Punk appear. You can still have Joe appear. You can still have FDR in the Bucks.
Absolutely.
All In is the first part, and now we go All Out.
Yeah.
2-part pay-per-view.
Yeah. No, I really like that. Especially, I'd prefer that than 2 nights in a row. Whew.
Yeah, but it's exactly the same, isn't it? WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2, but it's 2 pay-per-views. All In Part 1 and All Out is Part 2. And then you've got TV in the middle to build up what is going to happen in the confines of that. One other news story.
I'm still looking forward to AEW Shake It All About, I'm just saying.
I will make a meme of that at some point. One last news story before we wrap up for this week. Starting tomorrow night on Raw, commentary team changes are going to happen. Wade Barrett and Michael Cole are moving to Monday Night Raw. Corey Graves and Mike Patrick. No, it's not Mike Patrick. What's his name? Can't remember what his name is. Anyway, Neil Patrick are moving to SmackDown with Michael Cole. So Michael Cole is now going to go back onto both shows. I've not got a problem with that because since McMahon got out of his ear and he started working with Pat McAfee, Michael Cole has been absolutely incredible. So I have got no problem with that at all. I love the combination of Wade Barrett and Michael Cole. I think they are a brilliant commentary team. And I love Corey Graves and Michael Cole as well. So starts tomorrow night on Raw. New commentary teams.
Love it. I think also it's very interesting. A lot of people have said it's only happening because Corey's needing less time on TV because of the factor of Carmella giving birth soon. But I thought no, because you're still on the road to so
Yeah.
it's only 1 extra hour. But I think it's amazing. I said on a group chat when someone said about it that why not have it that Wade Barrett and Corey Graves, and someone went no, they're both analysts. I was like, I know, but it would still be great. But I think the fact of Wade Barrett being on Raw, amazing, and Corey back to SmackDown like the old days, I love it. I'm really looking forward to it.
And what a quick transition for Wade Barrett from NXT to SmackDown, now to the flagship. Just needs to do
Yeah.
Right, that's it for us. We are done for this week. It's a bit of a smaller show, but sometimes less is more, and I'd rather focus on the major thing than kind of just go endlessly for endlessly sake. So SummerSlam has taken place. Who did we say actually was the MVP of SummerSlam?
MVP of SummerSlam, Jey Uso for me.
Yeah, I think it has to be. That's who I put on my plan. Actually,
And number 2 for me was Cody Rhodes.
Ah, tremendous. This week is going to be very interesting. What is going to happen on Monday Night Raw? What's going to happen on Dynamite on the road to All In? We will be back next week with more of the Squared Circle. Until then, Sam, anything to say?
Just that we've got an announcement coming this week on Pro Wrestle Dorset. Keep an eye out. It's going to be another match. It's going to be a big match. So keep an eye out for that. And also go and buy the tickets. They're on our socials because the show is on the 4th of November. So it's only a few months away. Go buy your tickets. They're only £10 an adult, £5 children, or £25 for a family ticket. So that's 2 adults, 2 children. Really worth a come along, come and watch it. It's going to be an amazing night. We've already got some amazing matches, so please come along, buy your tickets, and enjoy a good night of wrestling for the family in Dorset.
And I'm going to be there. So what else? What other reason to get a ticket? I will see you next week, Sam. Until then, everybody, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. We will see you at the matches. Until then, so long. Ta-da.